there, but then being able to apply that technology or make sure that we can meet a particular customer need, that's what made that technology really realizable or visible really in customer eyes. Same thing with the iPod. Again, that's an easy one to everybody to relate. Memory or storage is not a big thing, but really music in your pocket, that's the realization. So I think it's important to look at from a technology disruption perspective. It may not be brand new technology all the time. It may be technology that has kind of existed or been around, but your ability to marry that to the customer needs, I think startups are definitely better poised because they don't come with the established company. Even once you get past your startup phase and you have enough customers, you get so much focused on meeting your customer, releases or versions or making sure things are happening so you don't get behind on the revenue. It becomes very hard for you to then look at ways to go marry technology to customer needs. So I would like to emphasize that at least startups, even walking around outside, just that networking and looking at things that may be happening, talking to other people, I think that's what enables you to kind of start figuring out how to marry maybe a technology idea you have or a technology that already exists to customer needs. So I would really focus on what does the customer need.
So Tata Nano would probably be an example of that in your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you look at Tata Nano, it was really going after a customer need and then going and figuring out what is the technology that we need to enable in order to meet that need, right? And that's where you go and look at collaboration with Bosch to go look at the ignition aspect of things. That drove some of the technological improvements, right?
And so we'll come back to, I think, what Chris talked about is that even so-called big companies can be nimble and think of themselves as startups. And I think Infosys, you said you would like to see Infosys in that mode. And in some respects, startups are thinking of it the same way. But I do want to, since we're focusing on technology companies, I think one fascinating company which has come up in the last few years is VMware. How many of you know about VMware, right? So everybody knows about VMware. In your mind, do you think, is it possible from the audience, anybody can step up to share their perspective. Do you think there is a possibility of us having a VMware out of Bangalore in the next 5 years?
Yeah. It's not impossible to think if we can't have VMware out of India. So in terms of innovation happening out of India, yes, there is a lot of innovation. I think it's going undercover because of a lot of other reasons. I see a lot of drug discovery, a lot of good story innovation going on in India, but not being appropriately being funded or being, put on the sidelines to be able to be, given that sideline. If I have an idea in the US, I would have 10 investors coming after me. On the contrary, in India, I have to run after you guys to pursue, hey, I can get there.
So the reason I mentioned VMware, and I don't mean to offend anybody here, but I was at one time in Veritas, and Veritas and EMC were competing for VMware. And it wasn't obvious at that time how valuable VMware will turn out to be. And but eventually, if you think of it, had VMware stayed independent, it would have created a lot more wealth for the original set of stakeholders than what ended up happening eventually with VMware. Not that, it's not worked out well for EMC and VMware. The point that I wanted to make is that sometimes, despite that initial success, the fact that this is a significant market-changing disruption is not even obvious to the people who are participating in it inside the company at that point in time. So I think in some respects, one of our challenge is to become better in developing this visibility as to what may be happening in the market 2 or 3 or 5 years from now. And it is perhaps possible that one of the companies here may be a candidate for that, but may not have the self-confidence to really see what the potential or the future holds for them. Now, I know Chris is itching to say something on this, so over to you, Chris. Yeah.
See, there is a realization today that you need to co-create what the technology can do, what your idea can do, along with the customers, the consumers, etc. We are clearly seeing a new phenomenon. Everything is not done within your organization. It is done along with the environment, along with partners, along with customers. A good example is the social networking sites like Facebook or even Google. Yahoo to some extent, but Google has taken it much further along in terms of allowing applications to be developed on their platform, extending the use through information they capture about the consumers, the behavior, all that stuff. So you really enhance the value through that co-creation, enhance the experience through co-creation. So similarly, when you have some technology, if you are able to work with partners, work with customers, actually, what that can do, where it can be used, will probably get enhanced much more. And I think we need to leverage the power of co-creation today, and that is one aspect of it. The second is, sometimes, yes, you have to understand how you can make money, how you can market your product, what the customer really needs, etc. Sometimes it is about educating the customer also, because you may actually have come up with something very, very unique, very interesting, which is probably doesn't exist today, or people have not figured out how to use it or do with it, etc. It's a real breakthrough into that. And that aspect also you need to figure out. And again, it is important to put the idea out in the open so that people can actually, they can help you figure out what it can do. The idea of collaboration, idea of leveraging the network, idea of co-creating the future, I think is very, very important, and we need to learn from that.